Santi and Dave on the mic, let's go. Talking about bands from days of old. Sunset Strip stories unfold in the city of stars, rock and roll. Hollywood dreams, oh yeah. Stories from the city of angels. Sandy and Dave, bringing the past to the air.
All right, awesome. Hey guys. I see the
Gentlemen,
hey
good
Dave,
evening.
what's up? Welcome. Well, shit. Yeah, let's start again. All
Boo.
right. Yeah, shit.
Come on,
All
man.
right.
We've done this before.
Hey guys. Hey guys.
I
Welcome to the
remember
Hollywood Dreams
I remember my
podcast.
first podcast. Dun, 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 dun,
Was
dun.
that?
This is going to be a fun
It's,
episode, let me tell you.
well, if we ever get to get it going, right? But yeah, so welcome guys to the Hollywood Dreams podcast. As always, this is your fine host, Santi, along with my not so fine host, Dave. Hey, Dave, what's up?
And
Come
your
on, man.
and
Happy Friday night.
your super fine guest, Thom Hazaert. Dun, 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 dun. Ah.
Absolutely.
And
Hey,
Bruce
Tom.
the Shark.
Yes, we had Bruce is in the house. Dude, I love this thing. This is my favorite thing on podcasts. Look at this. I can make them like swim. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's
So this is
that's
your
the
Friday
content
night.
that
This
people.
is what this. Let me just get this straight. This is what you guys wanted to do with a Friday night. This.
This is what we wanted to do on Wednesday night, but we had to do research and we had to change things up a little bit.
Well, go. You better know every fucking thing about me now. Like,
I know
literally,
nothing. He
you better
did
have
the
my
research. I
Wikipedia
didn't do shit.
memorized.
I know you worked on the Shocker Blu-ray, and that's why we're here.
I did actually.
Right.
I did. It was
And,
fucking.
and I know
awesome.
you spent some time in Cleveland. I do know
That's
that.
it. That's the only. Nope. That's the only thing I did. I worked on the Shocker Blu-ray. End of interview. Just kidding. Yeah. No, I did. Definitely worked with some bands from Cleveland, and yep, I worked with Chimera, Switched, basically every band that's ever gotten signed out of Cleveland, with the exception of Mushroom Head. I got signed. Chimera, Switched, Erase the Gray. I don't know. I think that's it. A bunch of other Sappy Bell, a bunch of other cool regional bands that never really quite achieved those same heights, but still, I mean, Sappy Bell's got their skateboard in the Rock Hall Museum, so that's pretty cool. Every time I go there, there's a little Thom Hazaert section that's got some Chimera stuff in there and the Sappy Bell skateboard, and so it's always a cool little. Hey, my shit's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right.
That is pretty cool. The Cleveland Rock section. Perfect
Yep,
spot for
it
it.
is. It is. It is. It is. It's always pretty dope to go there, and it's like, hey, shit, my career has not all been for naught.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you're actually one of the people that don't mind going there and don't bitch about it.
No, dude, I love it. I go there. Whenever I'm in town, I have a lot of friends that work there, and I went there with the Taproot guys the last time I was there a couple of years ago. I was in Cleveland, and I went with Chuck Mosley, the original singer from Faith No More, who I worked with at the time. Me and Chuck went. He'd never been. It's cool, man. It's like anything else. When you get to share the experience with other people who've never been there, it's way cooler. I've been there 1,000 times, so I'm kind of like, but it's just like
Yeah.
when I can take my kids, or I can take a band who's never been, or you know what I mean, or take friends, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's always, who is that? Hey, Fluffy, shut up. Oh, hi, buddy. I got all the dogs here. It's Friday night, man. You're getting the full experience. So yeah, no, it's cool, man. I like going to the Rock Hall, especially when I can kind of bring new people who've never been there. And again, I mean, it's always something like that. Like I'm in town with a band, like I Taproot played there and last year sometime at the Winchester, and they wanted to go, so me and Phil and Taylor and a couple of the guys went, and then yeah, again, I went a couple years ago with Chuck Mosley because he'd never been, which was super cool. And then he passed away like 8 months later, so that was cool to get
Yeah.
to go, kind of have that experience with him. And yeah, man, it's cool. It's a cool place. It's a cool hang. They've definitely got some. And the last time I went, they had some new exhibits, some new Beatles exhibit, and it's always kind of the same ship. They always kind of have something new and cool going on. So
Very cool. Very cool. Well, this is going to be a little bit of a different episode for Hollywood Dreams. We wanted to do this.
what do you guys usually talk about? Is it usually like movie and film stuff? I mean, is it? I'll tell you, I lived in Hollywood for 25 years. I can tell you all about Hollywood dreams and nightmares. I mean, we could talk about that for hours.
Oh,
man.
we definitely
lived
talk
like
about
a
that.
block away from Hollywood Boulevard for 10 years. So,
What glam
funny
band
enough,
were you
yeah.
in?
with Scott Rose from Ricketts, I lived with him actually in Hollywood for a while, and then he moved out, and I moved into his apartment and stayed there for like 8 years.
Good old Hollywood. No, I mean, we usually talk about weird sex, hookers, blow.
Yeah,
Good
I
stuff.
don't even have any. Man, I don't do blow anymore. I don't have sex. Like I'm a fucking I'm not a good candidate for this show. Then apparently,
Interview over.
Right,
But
fuck me.
what you do have,
I'm celibate. I'm sober.
yeah, dude, what is wrong with you?
I'm old and I hate everybody
You're
and
not the
everything.
guy that I thought would be cool for this.
I mean,
This
I'm
is just
still pretty
this
cool.
is going way up. This Santy, we're done.
I know.
We're
Well,
done. Let's
there, hang on. I'll bring back Bruce. I'll bring back Bruce.
The shark just killed us. We're done.
I do have an Indiana Jones glass, though. Does that make me cooler?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I don't even make me pull out my Indiana Jones shit.
Oh, dude,
All my
I'll
horror
pull it.
shit's
I'll,
like
I'll,
right
pull, I'll
here.
pull out fucking. I have so much
Are we
random
gonna
shit.
have
on
an
my-
Indiana Jones off?
I have an Empire Strikes Back mug. I have so much. I have Muppet
We're getting
Babies.
there.
number-
Where's
I
the
have
horror
Muppet
movie
Babies
shit?
number one. I have Muppet Babies number
Oh.
one. Like you don't want to know the shit I have. The New Teen Titans number one. You don't want to know the random shit I have on my desk. I tell you what. Sorry.
All right, Tom. We need to get serious here, man. You're fucking.
Oh
me
yeah,
solid.
because that's something we always do here. We get
get
serious.
serious.
Oh yeah, I can tell you guys get real fucking serious. Hard hitting journalism.
Hey man, 20
We
fucking
just-
viewers.
Right, and they're
love it.
and
We
they're
discuss-
expecting
I mean-
serious business.
Those 20 people.
Yeah, we
know their
discuss
shit.
world politics. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay, come on. I want to talk about horror movies now and music and let's do this. Let's do the episode. Stop fucking around. Let's do this.
I mean, I can tell you about the time I dragged Switched into Mexico and we almost got murdered.
Okay, now wait.
That sounds
There's
like a
a story
That's
good
there.
Cleveland and hooker related and murder. So I mean, that's real. That checks all your boxes. So maybe we'll save that one
Ties
for later.
everything together. Well,
we'll-
you
we'll-
got to have something for
I got to
Santy there,
segue
because
into
he's-
that though. You can't just jump right into the. And when I say Mexico, I don't mean like Tijuana. I mean Juarez, like real fucking. Oh, God damn it! Now I just have to tell the fucking story. So
Not
we were in El
Argentina, right?
Paso. We were in El Paso. We were playing
That's
there with
Texas,
Fear
dude.
Factory, maybe. I think Switch was on tour with Fear Factory, and we were in El Paso. And me, I went to Tijuana all the time. Like I'm like, Mexico is fun. It's like Disneyland. You guys want to go to Mexico? But I didn't realize, and this was like in the 90s, man. I was like 24. I didn't know any better. And I was like, dude, Mexico's right here. Let's go to Mexico. But this is Juarez. Like this is like drug cartel, heads on spikes on the side of the road in Mexico. This is like, and Juarez in the 90s was not a nice place. But yeah, so we all go down to the border and we cross the border. And there's these guys in really sketchy taxis who go, oh, I take you, we give you a ride. So we get in these really sketchy taxis, like split up. I literally, for a split second, was like, I might never see those guys again. And yeah, eventually we got to the place and we survived. And yeah, the next day everybody was like, you guys are fucking idiots and you're lucky you're not dead. And I'm like, well, we're stupid gringos. What can I say? But me and I saw Sean May, the original bass player from Switch. He texted for Taproot once in a while. And we actually just, I totally forgot about that story. And then he brought it up and he's like, remember when we went to Mexico and you almost got us murdered? I'm like, no, I don't, but now I do.
Refresh the memory, right?
There you go.
And now here you are bringing it up again.
It's a great fucking story.
It's a
And you're
so,
still
so,
here to
Dave,
tell us, so that's good.
Dave,
Yeah.
what are we talking about tonight, Dave? Tell
Tonight
us.
we're going to talk. I want to talk about
He wants to talk about the
music.
Shocker soundtrack.
Well, that's part of it, but other horror movies that featured hard rock, heavy metal, and
Let's do that. Hang on, keep talking. Keep talking.
I'm trying to figure out what we're trying to do with that image. I see Santi like so.
Yeah,
So,
I mean
but yeah,
the horror movie soundtrack. That's a lost
horror movie
art.
soundtracks, not necessarily full soundtracks, but songs featured
Hmm.
on soundtracks, because there's a lot of there's a lot of songs that are featured, but like you noticed before, Santi, how it's those soundtracks can be pretty diverse in what genres they put on them. Now, Shocker was a full, straight up heavy
Yeah,
metal, hard rock soundtrack.
I had to go get this.
Oh yes, very cool.
One of my many giant Shocker. Yeah, I have a huge soundtrack one that so Michael Felcher. Oh, we'll get into that later.
Michael, oh no, I know Michael. He's I worked for Cinema Wasteland and do a lot, and he's there almost every year.
Yeah,
Every
Mike's
show.
amazing. So Michael, so I worked on a bunch of stuff with Michael. I did some stuff on Army of Darkness, on the special features of Army of Darkness. I produced some stuff on there. Return of the
Mhm.
Living Dead, Shocker, obviously.
Mhm.
Exorcist 3, I produced some segments on there. But yeah, the whole Shocker thing, I just saw Michael post one day that he was doing Shocker, and I hit him up, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude! Like, I love that movie. I know everything about the soundtrack. You have to let me work on that. And I talked him into letting me produce and direct. So I did a 30-minute short about the soundtrack that's on the Scream Factory Blu-ray version. And yeah, I interviewed like Bruce Kulick from Kiss, Kane Roberts, Desmond Child. Um, Mitch Pileggi ended up being in it for a couple
Mhm.
seconds, which was super cool.
Yeah, because
David
he
Ellison
does
from
a rap on there.
David Ellison from Megadeth, who I obviously ended up being involved with for a long time after that, kind of through that.
Mhm.
We wrote stupid books together and all kinds of nonsense. Um, but yeah, so that was really how that. I mean, I'm just a huge horror fan, man, and I'm always, you know, looking to broaden my horizons. I've done music supervision and acted in some stuff, and it was just a cool opportunity, man. And Michael's a really cool guy, and let me kind of spread my wings a little bit and do that stuff on Shocker, which was super awesome, man. I love that movie. I love the soundtrack. And yeah, man, dude, I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of, you know, I mean, Last Action Hero, Shocker. There's so many movies that just had insane
Oh,
soundtracks.
Last
I think
Action
that's
Hero, man, that soundtrack is fucking. I mean,
amazing,
so
amazing, like
good,
front to
and
back.
all those songs.
Alice, my two favorite Alice in Chains songs ever are on that soundtrack. Megadeth, the Queensryche song is fucking great. The Def Leppard song is fucking great. Big
Mhm.
Gun, amazing AC/DC song. That's a killer.
Tesla
Yeah,
doing the fucking
oh
title
yeah,
track,
yeah. I mean,
fucking
movie
amazing.
soundtracks just aren't what they used to be, man. I mean, think about all the. I mean, there's so many killer soundtracks in the '80s and '90s, man, and now it's just, yeah. There was. I mean, to me, there was movies that the soundtrack made the whole, and even again some of those like Return of the Living Dead had a killer soundtrack that that was a little more punk rock in nature, but it's
Yeah,
still great.
we were actually just talking about that. How 45 Grave
Yep,
did that version of Party Time,
yep,
which is more like it was more like a glammed out, hard rock
yeah.
version
And I tell you,
than,
the stuff I did on
yeah.
there was really cool because it was, it was a little out of my element, but it was. I had to track down 45 Grave, and a lot of those bands that were on that soundtrack that weren't really easy to track down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
and
and we could talk about the Cramps too from Return of the Living Dead, another Cleveland connection.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I actually managed to track down Rocky Erickson, and he did one of his last
Mhm.
interviews ever. Really, I think that ended up being him. That that one actually ended up being really really cool. I didn't expect it to be as cool as it was, but it's so funny though. Everybody, TSOL, the the damn. There's so much great shit, but it would tell you what, it was harder to track down the dudes on again, it was a little out of my wheelhouse, I think. So I think that was it too. It was like shocker, I knew all those guys already. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that was right. But this was like, okay, I didn't know any of these guys. So it was I love like, I worked on People Under the Stairs too. And I love there's almost that like detective element to it. Like when I did People Under the Stairs, a lot of those people hadn't Brandon hadn't been like nobody knew where the fuck he was. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Nobody could get a hold of that guy. He was like missing in action. He's the main star of the movie. You know what I mean? So I managed to find him somehow. It's like so it's kind of fun. It's kind of the detective aspect of and I honestly I think that was kind of the first thing I did with Michael. Might have been People Under the Stairs. Um, but yeah, I think that might have been sort of the thing that earned my stripes was just that I found Brandon Quentin Adams and I found a bunch of those guys that they just nobody knew where to find them and kind of made the special features really special because I kind of used my Batman detective skills to track down these dudes that didn't want to be, Brandon BQA might as well have been in witness protection. That's how hard it was to. I don't even remember how I found him. I just
Hmm.
found him and then found somebody else, and somebody else was like, "Oh, this might be his email address from 19 years ago." And somehow, like, I finally got a hold of him. I'm like, "Yo, dude, you want to do a thing for People Under the Stairs?" No. Come on. Okay, fine. And I talked him into it somehow. And then we ended up doing like a reunion with him and Sean Whalen and a bunch
Mhm.
of the other cats from the movie at some conventions and stuff. And it's funny because I really sort of put that whole cast back in touch. And Jan Birch, the guy who played the Stairmaster, and put a lot of those guys sort of back in touch where they did that People Under the Stairs reunion for a couple of years at conventions and
Mhm.
whatever. So it's cool to sort of play detective and have to track down these people.
Yeah. Now, the Shocker, going back to Shocker, since we want to talk about the music, songs on that soundtrack, you had Dangerous Toys, had an
Oh yeah,
unreleased
and,
track,
and
Demon
Jason
Girl.
was one of the main interviews on my thing. Jason's a good friend of mine for years. I love Dangerous Toys, man. I have the clown tattooed on my fucking leg. So that song and the Megadeth song obviously is fucking
Mhm.
great. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
that's
lot.
one of my favorite cover tunes.
Oh yeah, and they
Like,
didn't even want to do it, and they were all so fucked up when they did it. Desmond told me some crazy stories that didn't even make it on the thing about how fucked up they were on heroin and how you know
mm,
some of them, I won't name any names, could barely even function in the studio, and it was crazy. Like Desmond told me some crazy fucking stories about that song, and it was just kind of like, hey, you're gonna go to
yeah,
this Alice Cooper cover, and they're like, what? You know?
yeah, but it also has some niche songs like the Saraya one,
Yeah.
which is
mhm,
cool, and the Voodoo X featuring bases from the Plasmatics,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, a
Move
lot of
On.
that. Yeah, and a lot of that random shit Desmond put together, the Dudes of Wrath stuff, which so man, I wish I saw that full interview I did with him because it was so funny and so little of it actually ended up in. It was so funny. I'll tell you this: Desmond remembered nothing about that soundtrack. I literally had to like sit here and jog
wow.
his memory, and then it would come back to him and be like, "Oh yeah," and
Yeah, I figured that'd be a big deal for him. I mean, especially
no,
back then, it was
no.
just kind of like
I mean, I'm sure it
just
was 40
putting
years
that
ago
all
now.
together.
Yeah, it was definitely a monumental fucking thing, man. I'd have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that. But yeah, Jason told me some really cool stories about how that whole thing came together, the Dangerous Toys song. And originally it was gonna be a song they had called Dangerous Toys. And then that they'd written for the first record and it didn't make the record, and then they ended up writing another, really cool side story to that. So I'm friends with Adam Green, who did the Hatchet movies,
The Hatchet
and
movies. Yep.
so the last Hatchet movie, we put some of Jason's other bands, Hatchet and Broken Teeth, not Hatchet, Jesus Christ, Broken Teeth and Jesus Christ, I'm losing my mind now. Anyway, well, we put one of Jason's other songs on the Hatchet 3 soundtrack, and it actually he subtitled the song "The Ballad of Victor Crowley,"
Hmm.
Hmm.
which was super, and it was obviously a little nod to Shocker.
Yeah, which I
Igniter,
like.
Igniter. That's the other Jason's other
Oh,
band.
okay.
So,
Yep.
but
So
yeah, the song is called "Hatchet," the Ballad of Victor Crowley. So again, another we did that as a little nod to Shocker.
yeah, the Ballad of Horace Pinker,
Yep.
which
Yep.
and did you so you were executive producer of the feature on the DVD, or you produced it? That
I
was
produced
your
and
whole thing.
directed. I produced and directed the feature on the Blu-ray. I produced it. I directed it. I conducted all the interviews, except for Mitch Pileggi. Felsher actually shot that interview, and then he just surprised me with it and cut it in there, which was super cool. I didn't even know. But yeah, no. So basically, I went and did all the interviews. A couple of them, like I wasn't in LA at the time, so like the Bruce Kulick, I had my guy go shoot it. Actually, no, Jason McMaster, he was in Texas too. I actually did that interview over the phone. I had my guy there filming it, and I was asking the questions over the phone. It's funny, man. You just got to get creative sometimes when you can't geographically. I didn't have the budget to play. It was basically no budget. Michael was like, "You can do it, but you got no budget." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I mean, I literally pulled it out of my ass. And yeah, LA, the Rainbow, my friends, the Meg Larrys own the Rainbow and the Whiskey, and they were kind enough to let me shoot the Bruce Kulick segment upstairs at the Rainbow, so it looked super cool. And yeah, so I conducted all the interviews, and then I basically went through, and I basically put together a map of okay, this chunk of this interview into this, into this, into this, into this, and then I sent it all to Michael. I did a rough cut and sent it to Michael, and then he took and did the final edit and put in the transitions and the Mitch Pileggi footage and kind of did the final edit. But yeah, no, I basically directed and put together the whole sequence, and then Michael did the final cut, which was
I'm
fucking
gonna have to
brilliant.
mention this to Michael when I see him in October
Oh
at
yeah,
Cinema Wasteland.
I literally
And,
just messaged him today because I saw they're doing fucking Trick or Treat. I literally just hit him up today
yeah,
like, dude, come on, come
yeah,
on.
I think Synopsis Films is putting that out. You
Yeah,
could get on
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's
I know. I
another
need
killer
to. I need to.
soundtrack.
I need to. I literally just messaged Felsher today because I saw that. I'm like, come on, you do Trick or Treat and not call me? Come on, come on, come on. Like I know more about that fucking movie than I do about Shocker.
Good luck getting Dave to talk about that shit.
That's a great fucking. That's a great fucking soundtrack, though. I tell you what.
Um, he go, he'll come on and want to talk about Flogging Molly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
he
I,
he
I,
don't
have,
seem, he
I
don't
have,
seem very proud of his heavy metal past.
yeah, whatever. We have ways of making you talk.
Hmm.
I want to see that. I want to see Dave King talk about Trick or Treat. Make it happen, Tom. Make it happen.
There's actually a couple other really cool ones I worked on. Like I shot a bunch of shit for another. We were going to do another one. They were doing Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and I shot a bunch of shit for a Bill
What a
and
great
Ted's.
soundtrack.
I know. I shot another. I shot some stuff for both of those, and it didn't end up getting used. Unfortunately, like I think they just yeah, Shocker was a little more forgiving with quality and like cameras and the stuff. Like I think the Bill and Ted ones, it was a higher quality release and they were so I
Mhm.
think my footage. I mean, I had some really killer interviews, man, for the Bill and Ted stuff. I mean, I did Paul Geary from Extreme, and I mean, I tracked down again some really, the guy from Shark Island, and I tracked down
Yeah,
some really
guys in
cool
Slaughter
random
probably.
people from those. Oh yeah, Mark Slaughter. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I mean, I tracked down some really cool, weird interviews for that too that never got used. I probably still have them somewhere.
Man, that'd be cool to see.
So, which
I
all
feel
right,
like I put some of them on YouTube at one point. They might still be there.
yeah, we'll check it out. I mean,
Oh look,
We'll look it up.
yeah, we'll look it up. All right. So, which movie do you think is the first movie to feature licensed recordings?
Like the heavy
That's
metal
easy.
stuff.
the heavy metal stuff or
Not
just heavy?
necessarily. Not like in general.
I mean, I don't
Exorcist.
know,
Let's see if
dude.
you
I mean,
guys get
that
it.
would be shit in the 50s. I mean,
I don't know.
there's
I would say
movies in the
Exorcist.
50s that had like
We like
beach
popular music, like not like stuff made for the movie, but rather like songs you can
Well,
hear on the radio.
well, Tubular Bells wasn't made for The Exorcist, right? Am I wrong?
Sure, but I mean, not
You
stuff
like
You mean
made
like
for
like
the
commercial?
movie.
like a band?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, why you doing this to me, man? You didn't tell me you were going to do this. I didn't know we were going to have trivia night.
I know, right? I didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
Can I? Let me get rid of my phone because that's the first thing I want. Fucking Google the shit. Man, I don't know, man.
Well,
It's
that
not
would
okay.
be
Is it a horror movie? Horror movie
no, it's not. It's not. It's from the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
from the 70s? It'd be. Oh man,
Shaft.
I don't know.
I know Shaft had a soundtrack and had original music.
Is that it, Shaft?
I mean, it's not.
Do you not
It's
have the
not the
answer,
one I've
Sandy?
seen here.
Yeah.
What is
It's
it?
early 70s. Early
Early
70s.
70s.
It's not
Early
Shaft.
70s. Huh?
I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me.
No, don't. Hint,
Featuring
hint. Give us a hint.
featuring the great Harrison Ford.
Early 70s with Harrison Ford. Oh,
Oh,
I'd have
oh,
to say American Graffiti.
American Graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Why
yeah,
didn't you
no,
just
I
say
can see
George?
that.
Why didn't you say George Lucas's first fucking movie? I mean, I guess Harrison Ford. I mean, that's a good. Yeah, well, that makes
Now
sense.
wait,
That would make sense.
well, I thought no, THX 1138 was George Lucas's first movie, right?
Was that even released though?
I don't
I
even know what
guess.
that was, like an
Yeah, I,
experimental
I mean, I didn't
whatever.
know. I didn't even know if THX 1138 actually got released. I mean, I think with the
I think it
American
did later
Zoetrope
on.
thing, I
I
think
think
they
like after
cut a
the
bunch.
fact.
Yeah, I don't think it got originally. Fine. George Lucas's first real movie. I mean, come on.
American Graffiti is a great
It's a
Admit,
movie, and
good
it
movie.
does have.
I've never seen THX 1138. I probably should. I assume it exists now out in the world. I should probably
I
watch it.
I know there's a movie. I know there's a cut where I think
Yeah,
it started out kind of like Dark Star,
yeah,
how Carpenter and O'Bannon put Dark Star together,
yeah,
and then they finished it later on. I
yeah.
think THX 1138 had the same
I
kind of
think so.
thing.
I think there was originally they had their American Zoetrope deal, and they basically came in and did this horrible cut. They took the cutaway from Lucas, and then he wanted nothing to do with it, and then he went and made American Graffiti. Um, Basically, he said, okay, Coppola said, all right, go make a fucking comedy, and he did, and he went but they lost their deal with whoever it was, Warner Brothers or Paramount, whoever the fuck they had the deal with American Zoetrope. I know they lost their deal, and then George went and made American Graffiti, and the rest is how crazy is it that George Lucas his second real movie was fucking Star Wars? Like, how
It's
crazy is
nuts.
that? Like, it's fucking nuts if you think
It's
about it. It
nuts.
really is. Like, I mean, really, the
Star Wars
guy's only
should have
made
had
like
some
four
fucking.
goddamn movies.
Star Wars should have had some fucking Sabbath in there. Fucking
Hmm.
intergalactic fucking Iron Man fucking rocking.
Yeah. You
Fucking
see,
war pigs playing during the fucking battle scenes.
like
It was
he's
fucking
like the
great.
Cantina song, like metal version of the Cantina song is
Oh,
just
yeah.
playing like
Yeah,
Paranoid or something.
fucking blue chair up there fucking rocking.
Yeah, right.
Fucking
Yeah.
love that shit. It'd be great. Star Wars would be a lot better now. Fucking Jaws. Jaws
I
needs
should
some
have had a better
fucking metal.
soundtrack.
Great. Dude, fucking I remember like fucking music and movies was so important when I was a kid. If
It
I
was.
heard a song, like the Ramones with Pet Cemetery or
Yeah.
Dokken and Dream Warriors,
Yeah.
the songs fucking stuck in my head. And that was great. I mean, that made the movies seem more memorable. So now every time I hear fucking Dream Warriors, I instantly start thinking of, you know, Elm Street 3 or whatever.
Right.
And Shocker
Well,
being that way.
Yeah, I'm down the same way. I mean, look, music was so important in movies, and again, all the ones you mentioned. I mean, those were, I mean, the reasons I mean, to me, they're so intrinsically tied. I mean, Dream Warriors, and
Mhm.
oh no, Mountain Dew. Yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, some of the movies are so intrinsically tied to those songs. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
even Alice Cooper being in, you know, the later Nightmare on Elm
right.
Street movie. I mean, and
Elm Street 6, yeah.
The Alice Cooper tie-in with, you know, with he's back, the man behind the mask, and the Friday
Yep.
the 13th. You know,
You can even go
funny.
back. Remember? Do you remember that movie Cooper did, Monster Dog, with the fucking Italian production? It's not
Yeah,
even Alice Cooper's voice. They
yeah.
fucking they have somebody else's voice. But those two songs that he did for that movie are absolutely horrible. Probably two of the worst Alice Cooper songs I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, Alice
And
Cooper had a period he's not very proud of in the early '80s, and
and you know what?
he,
And that was right around that time.
yeah,
That was right around
yeah,
that time.
yeah,
I can't remember what was Identity Crisis was one of the songs, and then there was another one. And oh my, they're pretty much forgettable. But Santi, if you haven't heard those Alice Cooper songs, track down the
don't.
songs from Monster Dog and
If you
fucking
haven't heard them, don't save yourself the trouble.
do
I
yeah, do
mean,
yourself a
I feel
favor.
I feel like I feel like um movies were not afraid to be campy, and nowadays horror movies have to be so serious, so they
Yeah,
can't have like themes.
Well, they have to hit you with something every 2 seconds. When we were growing up,
Right.
movies like Halloween or movies like The Exorcist, a lot of that stuff was a slow build. You just
well, now it's all this jump scare bullshit. I mean, look, I think the last, you know, mainstream kind of filmmaker who wasn't afraid to do campy shit was Rob Zombie. I mean, yeah, even in, you know, his interpretation of the Halloween movies, there definitely is some campy shit. And obviously,
Mhm.
House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects are pretty fucking camp. Yeah, especially
Devil's Rejects is
House of a Thousand
phenomenal on
Corpses.
every level. I think that's
What was
like
that?
his masterpiece.
Yeah,
Devil's
yeah,
Reject.
yeah, it's
That's
great.
Yeah,
that
Oh yeah,
movie. And a killer soundtrack.
definitely.
yeah.
And that is one thing I'll say about Rob Zombie. The soundtracks that he puts together for those
Oh, yeah.
movies are fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, even in Halloween, dude. The see where Rush starts playing, you're like, fuck.
Mhm.
It's like he is definitely a master of putting the right piece of music in the right spot to really just
Yeah, he puts the
get you
fucking
in there.
Hazaret, man, fucking rocking in there. It's like it's just
Yeah, no,
cool.
that
It's
too.
cool. And
Yeah,
and I'm sure it helps him being part of the music scene. He knows his fucking music, and he
Well, and his
knows
scores are brilliant
how it
too. I mean, he
fits.
does his. I did. It's funny. Devil's Rejects is such a. He really came into his own on that movie, but House of a
Mhm.
Thousand Corpses is like such a just a love letter to like classic horror. I mean, I love that. I almost like that movie. I don't want to say more, but it's different. Like Devil's Rejects is seriously like just a great written, like great acted, great directed, like put together movie. House of a Thousand Corpses is kind of a fucking train wreck piece of shit, but that's what makes it so great.
That is what makes it so great. And
And it's kind of
the
like the
yeah,
first
music in
Texas
it.
Chainsaw Massacre. It's just this, and the dialogue is so, House of a Thousand Corpses is so campy and so fucking stupid, but that's part of what makes it so fucking good.
And everything there's that scene in in House of a Thousand Corpses where he's got the gun to the guy's head, the guy's on the ground kneeling, and that camera just pulls back and you have
Oh, yeah,
that song playing, and that camera just so slow. It's just
oh yeah, and it's like that 5 minutes of silence, and
yeah, and you're
I,
like, when the fuck is this gonna? You know it's coming, but that
yeah,
was
and
man.
I saw that in the theater too. So it was so much more intense in the theater, actually. Like, I actually
Mhm.
went and saw that theatrically when it came out. And holy shit, man, it was so much more impactful in the theater too. It was just, it
Oh
felt
man,
like
you feel it.
it felt like it just took 20 minutes. It was so uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah, you're just like,
Hmm.
come on, and that was to me. I feel like that was Rob Zombie at his. I mean, that was his finest moment to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
In all those movies, that's that
Yeah.
just that scene and that song playing, and then when it gets quiet, and then you get that pop, and you're just like, oh, it's like fucking amazing, amazing. But the music is what really drives a lot of that stuff.
I concur. Santi, do you
Yeah,
concur?
and I concur. We are in concurrence, the three of us.
Yeah, we concur.
On Friday night
And
doing this.
yeah, but I was just, I had another trivia for you guys.
Okay, we'll do trivia. Yeah, let's do it.
Which 1991 action movie, features songs by Sheryl Crow, Westworld, Shark Island, LA Guns, and Rat?
I would say Point Break.
You're absolutely right.
Over the edge.
Oh,
Over the edge.
Dave. Point for Dave. Wow, what a horrible soundtrack that is.
I meant to hit the button here, the buzzer, but it
Wow.
wasn't fucking working. So I just
no,
pointed it
yeah.
out. Um, no,
We
that
gotta
that
get.
that movie. That's another movie that I really like. I like the whole
I like
atmosphere
the
of it.
use of the music in the movie, but like as a soundtrack, I would not sit and listen to it. You know what I mean? Like
No, I
in the
certain
cues
song.
in the movies, like some soundtracks are great albums as an album, the way the music supervision is. But like
Mhm.
again, and there's movies where the cues are great in the movie, but they wouldn't make a great soundtrack. But then there's some where just when you put them together as an album, and it just creates this whole other kind of masterpiece. You know, like
Dazed and
you know.
Confused.
Yeah.
That's
Or
one
the
I feel
Spawn
like.
soundtrack, Judgment Night, fucking
No,
so many, you know.
you
I mean,
know the one that comes to me, and this is just because it was a soundtrack of music that I wouldn't necessarily go and listen to myself, but it was the songs in Lost Boys.
oh yeah, that's a
That was
great
that
fucking soundtrack.
dude. That was a soundtrack. I didn't know who Jimmy Barnes was. I didn't know Jimmy
Yeah,
Barnes.
yeah,
I wasn't a fan of Elton John, so I
yeah,
didn't know, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. I
yeah.
did dig
I'm sure
Roger
you didn't know who
Daltrey,
the
who,
fuck
who
G
did the
Tom
song.
Mac was.
What's that?
I said, I'm sure you didn't know who the fuck G Tom Mac
No,
was.
fuck no. But you know what? That's a killer song. That's a
It
killer song.
is.
Or what
You know how
about
many
the
bands have covered "Cry Little Sister" now? Like
oh
every
man.
other year, some band covers that song, and it's always like some kind of goth industrial metal band, and you
Yep.
know
Well, I know
it's
two
funny.
LA Guns and Corey fucking Feldman.
Yeah, well, and Ricketts covered it, and theirs
Yep.
was actually fucking dope. That was like 10, 15 years ago they did it. And some other band did it recently too. God, who was it? One of these, I'm gonna have to go look. Let me see. Cry Little Sister cover. Let's see how
Look,
many there are. Oh, Marilyn Manson did it. Vampires Everywhere. That was the one that was recently. But Manson
hmm,
did it. Seasons After did it. Vampires Everywhere did it. There's literally
yeah,
7,000 churches. Like there's
that was
literally
a great song though.
Silver Sun Pickups did it. Like literally, there's 1,000 covers of this song. Holy shit!
Now, now I'm gonna tell you something I'm excited for. Coming here, I want to say it's in October. Tim Capella, man, is coming
Ooh,
here.
this, your
The
boy, the sexy
oily
sax man.
fucking saxophone
Is he
guy.
gonna be? Is he gonna be shirtless and
Dude, I
oily?
hope so. And I hope he's got those
Oh,
purple
he's
tights.
always shirtless and away. I don't think he owns a shirt.
He might not.
Have you
But
ever
man,
seen Tim Capella and a shirt in the same room? Me either.
I've never.
I almost
But
bought a
you know
Kenny
what?
G.
I think I
I
will
almost
go
bought
to
a
that
Kenny
show.
G board game. I almost bought a Kenny G board game at Goodwill yesterday, but I couldn't bring myself to pull the trigger.
Why would there be a Kenny G board game? What
Why
do you
would
do?
Why would I don't know.
You be
And how
you
old
get
is this?
screwed.
Exactly why I almost bought it, and then I'm like, nope. But a Kenny
Curiosity
G
would have
board
got
game
me, dude.
exists. A Kenny G
How much
board
was
game
it?
exists.
How much was it? Like $1?
No, it's like Goodwill's fucking everything's. It was like $3.99 or if it was $1, I would have bought it. It was sealed too. It was $5.99, I think, maybe $3.99.
That's a little
It
steep
was a little
for a
high. Like
Kenny
if it
G
was
board
like
game.
my curiosity is not quite
What's
worth
the point of the
$3.99
game?
apparently.
Oh my god, you have to find his fucking flute or whatever he plays.
He plays the sax, obviously.
He plays the sax.
Yeah.
Kenny
yeah.
G. I thought he played that
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
whatever.
This is no, that's you're thinking of Zamfir or Ron Burgundy, who plays the Yaz flute.
Jethro
Ron
fucking
Burgundy,
Paul.
would you play the Yaz flute for us? But yeah, maybe I'll go back and see if it's still there tomorrow, and I'll buy it. I haven't stopped thinking about it since then, so maybe I should have pulled the trigger.
Bring it to fucking Cleveland and we'll fucking play.
Maybe we can all get a copy, and we can all get our own version, and we can play it remotely.
Dude, I have a feeling there's probably not 3 copies floating around.
I mean, there's one at Goodwill in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I have a feeling there's some. I'm gonna go like, why does this exist? Kenny G board game. Why does this
Oh
Keeping it-
man.
keeping
I
it
wonder
sexy?
if Kenny
Keeping
G.
it sexy. That's what it's called. Kenny G keeping it sexy. There's unboxing
awesome.
videos. I mean, there's unboxing videos. You can go check it up for yourself.
Is it one of those VHS games like where you put the
No.
VHS tape in and you fucking
It
stop
says-
it
it
in the
says
middle
in
of the
this-
song?
No, dude, this
So
came out
it's-
like 5 years ago. Like, there's no VHS involved.
5 years ago? Is
That came out in
is
2019.
There's a
Kenny G
revival.
still around?
It's
They
a
have a
revival.
board
It says, okay, so the description, right, for the board game, it says, help Kenny G stay in the groove with the power of jazz. In this cooperative game, players work together to make sure Kenny stays smooth and sexy through the hectic day. Each player will play sound cards to help Kenny overcome uncool events, detangle his luscious locks, and avoid rush hour traffic.
I'm going back and buying this fucking game tomorrow. You just sold me.
I mean, I'm so intrigued.
And I know, right? And your accent makes it so much sexier, just so you know.
Oh, thank you.
It said so much. It feels so much more European now.
Santi, you sold the fucking
You
Kenny
did, you
G
sold
game.
me.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
We're both on Amazon ordering it right now for full
Oh my
retail.
god.
You
I'm
never-
looking on eBay, man. Amazon sold out.
No.
I'm
You
on
see,
eBay.
Dave, you never tell me stuff like that anymore, Dave. You don't tell me I sound European to you. Yeah.
No, man. I used to tell you that shit all the time, man. Well, I had to butter you up in the beginning.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Now you're just like, it's only $9.99 on Amazon, dude. 20% off.
Well, okay, I
Yeah,
gotta look this
Typical
up.
price is $12.49.
All right, wait. I'm gonna see
That's
if I can
next
get us
episode.
a. Wow.
That's the
you know,
next episode of Hollywood Dreams.
Yeah.
We play this Kenny G
We played
board
the Kenny
game.
G
Yeah.
board game.
So Sandy, are you saying that Dave takes you for granted now? Is this going to turn into like a marriage counseling session?
I mean, it kind of. Oh my god, look at this.
I mean, Dave, why don't you ever tell Santi he's beautiful?
Actually,
When was the last time you looked into his big brown eyes?
You never look
can
at
you
me
see
during
fucking? I can't
anymore.
see. That ain't gonna work. I look into his big brown eyes every day. I stalk his Facebook page when I don't see him. Man, I've called him just to chat and he ignores me for days. You know, because he knows I can't come and hunt him down. He's in fucking Argentina. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I can't go hunt him down. I can't see what he's
Well,
cheating on me
you,
with.
you could, but yeah, it's gonna cost you.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
So, okay, so
I'm not
what
gonna
about
say.
the soundtrack? What about the soundtrack for the movie David Lynch's Wild at Heart featuring Nicolas Cage, which not only features um, Chris Isaac and other very sexy people, but also two songs by Nicolas Cage himself.
Nicolas Cage
Yeah,
sings songs.
yeah,
Yeah, at least
yeah.
two of them.
Wow, I didn't know
Uh,
that. Did he do
and
anything
that's
on the? Did he do anything on the Raising Arizona soundtrack?
I don't
I
believe
That
don't
so.
know,
sounds like
man, but
something he would have like.
But but the other weird thing about Wild is Heart, I think Power Mad is on it, and there's like these like weird misplaced metal songs, and
Power Man,
then
like the thrash group?
yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah, oh yeah, and Wicked Game.
yeah, it has Nicolas Cage, Chris Isaac, Power Mad, and Gene Vincent of all people.
And a lot of Angelo Badalamenti.
Angela Madonna, yeah.
Wow. See that's that diversity we were talking about on some of those soundtracks. You'll have like 3 metal songs, and you'll have like 2 hip-hop songs, and you have a country song, and then you have whatever. But I mean, I get that like soundtracks should be a little bit diverse because each scene, whatever song you feel is going to move that scene along, it's got to be there. And that seems like the perfect one. It's so like where you go from Chris Isaac to fucking Power Man, really?
Yeah,
That's crazy. Well, that's David Lynch too, so who knows where his head's at any given time.
Well,
apparently his head
one of
is
my
at letting
favorite.
Nicolas Cage sing. Apparently that's where his head was at then.
Why the fuck isn't Kenny G on any of these soundtracks?
I don't
Shit,
know.
he's got his own board game.
He does. He does.
Right?
Damn.
Well,
Yeah,
one
I'm
of my
gonna do a
favorite.
horror movie with an all Kenny G soundtrack. Now we're talking.
That might be
No
interesting.
Kenny G soundtrack.
Kenny G and John Carpenter should team up. That'd be badass.
I don't think the world is ready for that much smoothness.
No,
I don't know.
no.
Yeah,
That
I
much
concur.
sexiness.
yeah, it's too sexy. Yeah, we can't handle it. Yeah.
Way too
Um.
sexy for the soundtrack.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Damn,
I'm
one of
now
my
Tom, what did
favorite.
envisioning a
what did
John.
you
I'm
do to
now
Hollywood
envisioning a.
Dreams, man?
Yeah.
You got us talking about Kenny G. Shit.
That's what I do. I bring the fun.
Hey,
And the
how
Yeah.
long did you have the eye patch on for? How long did you have to wear that?
I mean, a couple months. I didn't really have to wear it. I mean, it was just awesome.
Like the Snake
I
Plissken look?
what was that?
The Snake Plissken look?
Yeah, yeah. First, I was like, dude, this is awesome. I can wear an eye patch, and I dug it. But then I was pretty happy when I didn't have to wear it anymore. But yeah, it wasn't like a doctor was like, you have to wear an eye patch. It was just I couldn't see out of my eye, and it was like over here, and I looked like a fucking mutant. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get an eye patch, and I did. And
Yeah,
I
that's
rocked the fuck out of that eye patch.
yeah, I thought it looked badass. But that's why I was worried, man. I asked you about the eye and you didn't say anything. I'm like, oh shit. Did he like lose an eye and he's like got a glass eye and
Dude, that would be dope.
I fucking pissed him off? I was like, oh,
Bruh,
shit.
bruh. See, we're back to Last Action Hero again.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Funny how that
It
happened.
all comes full circle.
What a great fucking soundtrack that was. Oh my god. So much better than the movie. So much better than the movie.
The movie's
I like
good.
But I didn't really hate the
I
movie.
I do enjoy the movie. I like the movie though.
Yeah,
I'm a
I thought the
fan of
movie was actually, I guess, so much better than the movie on a financial.
And another one, The Crow, another movie with an
Oh,
incredible fucking soundtrack.
Wow. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah,
Ridiculous.
very,
Yeah.
very awesome soundtrack. And my oldest son is named Brandon after Brandon Lee. That's a true story. He was gonna be named Brandon Lee Mellencamp, but then Tommy Lee named his kid Brandon Lee, and I was like, nah, not after Tommy Lee. So my son has my middle name now. So which is cool.
Hopefully, he doesn't get shot.
Oh, dude, that's so wrong, man. Why would you say that?
Okay, so one of my
That-
favorite.
That's a send you to hell statement. Oh no.
um, right. So, well, tell him to stay clear of Alec Baldwin. So.
What about Alec Baldwin?
Yeah. So, one of my favorite movies, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, features a
Is that really one of
kick-ass
your favorite
soundtrack.
movies?
I mean, what's not to like?
That's
You
no, it's a
got
cool movie.
Burt Reynolds, Mickey Rourke,
Mickey Rourke, Don
Vanessa
Johnson.
Williams.
Give the guy a
Dude,
break. He lives in
Mickey Rourke was
Argentina.
a badass.
Dude, he lives in Argentina. That movie just came out last week.
Right. Yeah.
It's actually still in theatrical release.
It's
Yeah, for the
I
we're
got
on
some
the
bad news
seven.
about your boy Mickey Rourke. He doesn't look like that anymore.
No, right?
oh no, he does not.
Yeah,
Man, what happened
yeah.
to that guy?
A lot
Besides
of plastic
drugs.
surgery.
What's that?
Well, now he looks like he's a guy wearing a Mickey Rourke mask.
Oh, dude, it's so bad.
So weird. Yeah, but I guess yeah. Well, I guess movies stopped having like soundtracks like that, like by the mid '90s for some reason.
No, the
They went
2000s,
all
they did it.
serious.
No, they did it through the 2000s. I mean, fucking Dracula,
Mm,
2000, the
Yeah, that
Queen of
that
the
had a
Damned, Queen of the Damned. There's a lot of great soundtracks into the 2000s, and then it kind of stopped. Yeah, I don't know why. They were spending a shitload of money licensing the songs, and I think the budgets kind of dried up. I mean, they
yeah.
still do. I mean, they're still. I mean, look, I went and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies have great soundtracks. I mean, there's some movies that have great
yeah.
soundtracks. They're just different now, and it's a different. Tell you what, man, when I went and saw the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie in the theater, and that fucking Faith No More song with Chuck came on, I literally sort of bawling my head off in the middle of the fucking theater. You know what I mean? Like, I mean those movies. James Gunn puts together brilliant fucking soundtracks for his movies. It's a little different vibe, you know what I mean? But they're brilliant.
Yeah,
You know?
but it fits for today's,
Yeah.
for what today's doing, and that was the thing. Like, you gotta remember, like back in the '80s, um, we always had those movies that had those long montage scenes, or the MTV music video scenes. Cobra had one,
Yeah.
Mm.
or just the songs in general, like the songs at the end of the movies. Obviously, Teen Wolf when they're playing basketball, they had the "Win in the End" song, or Karate Kid.
Yeah, the end credits themes were super important. I mean, that
Yeah,
was also how they'd cram, in the soundtrack era, that was how they'd cram extra songs into the movie, like just by putting 4 songs in the ending credits so they could put them on the soundtrack.
yeah, they just blend them all together. But how many times did a fucking movie have that song at the end, like over the top? Fucking Sammy Hagar. Fucking, you're just like, oh man, fucking yeah, I want to go fucking arm wrestle. I didn't give a shit about arm wrestling, but by the end of that movie, I was going to be a fucking professional
You're gonna be a
arm
pro arm wrestler, I know. Yeah.
wrestler. But it's the fucking music. If you had anything else at the end of those movies, Karate Kid with "You're the Best Around," if that song's not in,
Yeah.
yeah, if that song's not in there though, that movie's totally different. Totally different. It's fucked up. And I
I mean, just
believe they said
imagine
originally.
imagine Boogie Nights without "You Got the Touch." So, all right,
Right.
I got some trivia for you, Santi.
Or,
What movie did that song appear in first?
Hmm. Hmm.
Go Google it, because I want you to just see it, and I want to see your face. I didn't want to tell you.
Okay.
You got the touch. You got the
Well, that's
power.
Transformers, right?
Yes, the original
Yeah. Yeah,
animated
and I remember.
Transformers
Yeah,
movie.
the original one. Yeah, '86. Yeah.
And I totally forgot about that until I was watching it like 10 years after Boogie Nights came. I'm like, holy fuck, it's You Got the Touch. I'm like, it was,
Yeah, that's a great song. That's Stan Bush,
yes.
right? Yeah. great song. He
I mean,
has
I don't know
some
if it's a
awesome
great
songs.
song. I mean, I wouldn't get carried away.
Well,
I'm not gonna go put it on my fucking
Slow
Spotify
your roll
playlist.
there, Santy.
but that Transformers movie was Orson Welles' last movie,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
The great Orson. Now you can say great in front of
But
Orson
wait,
Welles.
Santi, are you podcasting from
Submarine or something.
prison or some
Prison
kind of
camp.
mental health facility? I mean, it looks like a very sterile environment. I'm gonna go on record and point that out.
Actually,
I mean,
That's
do,
how
well,
do I
it's
need to
actually,
send, do I need to send you some posters? Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better.
it's
There's
actually
the
That's
best.
my
better.
my baby daughter's like
Oh,
room, so it's
all right,
just
fine.
crap all over the place. Yeah.
That's awesome. Where is
So
she? Why isn't she running around screaming like my dogs are?
because we get for the life of me, I can't make her sleep on her own room. He sleeps between my wife and
Oh,
me. I mean, she's only a year and like 2 months old, so
oh, oh, how
yeah.
cute.
He,
All right, good.
he's
Well,
a
that
he's a
explains it.
very proud dad.
No, yeah, my kids are teenage assholes now. They're like basically adults. So
My kids are adults, and
are they
trust me,
really?
they drive
How old are
me.
you? How old are you?
Oh, how old am I?
Yeah.
I will be 50 in November
Oh
7th.
fuck, you're old. You're older than me, and
I
you went
know, man. I
young.
know.
Fuck,
We're
fuck you.
we're well aged. We're like a
Fuck
fine
you and your
wine.
good genes.
Oh, I ain't got good. Let me take off the hat. It's not
Oh,
good.
all right. Look, I got. Let's take out the hat.
Yeah, you still got
That's
that, man. You got
AD.
me beat
Look at this.
there. You go, and the gray, I cover that up with just for men.
Yeah, see,
So
I don't do that. I embrace my gray.
no, it looks great. I can't do that because it's patchy. Mine's
You know, it's
patchy.
funny. I thought like 4 times I bought just for men to do it. And then I'm like, why? I don't fucking care. Like, it would literally probably take 10 years off if I did it, but I don't care enough to do it. Like, you know,
Well, it really, I don't know, it fits you.
yeah, it
You
works.
have
It works.
you have that
I'm
look.
mad at it.
You have that look. Now, there is something else that I do want to talk with you about, Tom, and it's something that's pretty big to me. It's a big deal. Because I am
Are
I'm
you
a
coming out?
huge Def Leppard fan. Huge.
Okay.
You did some stuff. You got a good relationship with Phil Collin, right?
Yeah. I mean, I did some stuff with Phil, and so Phil. I worked with a band called Oedipus, and I got Phil to be on one of their songs, which was actually really fucking rad. And Def Leppard was just kind of moving away from the kind of harder rock, but Phil still really wanted to do that, so it was just
Mhm.
kind of. But yeah, I worked with his band Man Rays. It was him and Simon Laffey from Girl, and the drummer from the Sex Pistols. And I did worked on that record, and through that kind of built a relationship with Phil and his wife Helen, and then me and Phil did some songs together. I produced this documentary, and me and Phil actually did an ACDC cover together that was going to be on the soundtrack for that, and we never ended up finishing it, so I just have like a rough version of it. But that was really cool getting to do that, and yeah, I mean I'm a huge Def Leppard fan, man. Def Leppard's been like my favorite band since I was 7 years old, so getting to
Yeah.
do anything with them in any context is cool. But yeah, so I did tour press for Def Leppard for a time, and did a lot of stuff with Phil and his some of his side projects, and me and Phil did some musical stuff together. And yeah, I definitely had a cool little period of hanging with Phil, and definitely was cool, man.
Yeah,
He's a cool dude.
I
His
remember
wife is
seeing
cool.
that, man, and I was just like, wow, that's awesome, and yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that up and just give a shout out to those guys too, man. They've been doing it a long time,
You,
and
you
me
should check out
personally,
You should check out that Oedipus song. It's called "Perfect Machine" that Phil's on, and it's so cool. It kind of Phil playing the super cool riff, and it kind of pulls him out of his element. It's this real kind
hmm,
of modern, funky hard rock song, and it's super fucking cool, man. It
yeah, I'll
really is.
definitely check that out. I'll check that out. So yeah, yeah, I curiosity. I wanted to hear the story, and get your
There
view
it
on
is.
that, and it's
Hopefully,
cool
it lived
to.
up to the hype.
Well, no, it's cool. I mean, you know what? You could have told me you were fucking standing next to him in a fucking urinal, and I would have been cool with that. But
Yeah, dude, one of the coolest fucking. I got to go to his house, and I have a little video of it somewhere. I went to his house. We were sitting at his house, and he pulled out the first. He pulled out the photograph guitar, um, and then he pulled out the Explorer, and then he pulled out the Pour Some Sugar on Me Jackson, like the black, like marble looking Jackson. He pulled out
yep.
that fucking guitar and let me play it, and
Oh
and
man.
and I was sitting here playing Pour Some Sugar on Me on the guitar that he recorded it on. And that was a pretty cool, raw, surreal moment, man. Sitting in Phil Collins' fucking kitchen. It was
Man.
funny. We were trying to find all, he was showing me all of his diamond record awards, and he couldn't find one of them. He's like, it's here somewhere. And it was in the bathroom. Funny enough, we found one of them in the bathroom. Like we spent 20 minutes trying to find one of his diamond record awards, and they couldn't find it in the bathroom, mate.
And that kind of that kind of story just makes my night, man. And that's why I love this shit, dude. You guys, you, we get to live it through your guys' eyes and experiences, and
And that's
that
the thing for me. Like, I'm so jaded and I've kind of done everything. So to me, it's cool. Like when I can tell people these stories or take people to experience these things and like see them freak out. And it's like, okay, you know what I mean? I can get a little bit of that. I live, erroneously through other people when I tell these stories and talk about this shit and see their reactions to it. To me, it's just like, okay, that's my life. You know what I mean? But getting
yeah,
to take my kids to experience these things or take other friends or other people who aren't really like in this world and aren't jaded and fucking kind of done everything and seen everything and hate everything. And, I mean, that's again kind of the fun of it for me too, is getting to, you know, experience some of that wonder and amazement through other people that to me is just like whatever.
yeah, and that's another thing I want to give you. I'll give you kudos for this, man. You seem like a really badass dad, and what you do with your daughter, and what I've seen, man, it's cool that she gets to live all
Yeah,
those
yeah, both of
experiences
my
and
kids, man,
everything.
both of my kids get it. I took my one kid to Sick New World, and then and they had a blast there. And yeah, it's funny. So one of my kids, Jay, lives in California with mom now, and they've been going back and forth, but they've been mostly in California the past few months. And it's cool. I go out there and take them to do shit out there, and but Jay's the one who's kind of into the rock shit. Riley, Riley's kind of the more into hip hop, and so again, they both like literally, I took both of my kids to see Def Leppard at the House of Blues in
Mm.
LA. There
Mm.
was like 100 people there. It was like basically a private showcase for like radio people. And like my kids were running around hanging out with Def Leppard. They drew pictures for Phil Collins. Like my kids have gotten to do my, Jay got to come with me to Post Malone's house last year. We were out in Utah and went to Post Malone's house. Like Jay was running around with Austin's dad killing a rattlesnake in their fucking backyard. My kids have gotten to do some pretty crazy shit too, man. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, and I, being a dad, and Santi, you're gonna have experiences as your daughter gets older. Um, one of the bands that I really wanted to
night
see.
sitting around playing the Kenny G board
It's
game
the
as a
Kenny G
family.
board game. One of the bands that I always wanted to see and I never caught back in the day, and I went to a lot of shows back in the day, was White Snake.
Oh,
And they played the Cleveland Agora, and it was awesome, man. I took both my kids, and the three of us got to see White Snake for the first time together, and that was a big moment for me. That was like, that was pretty awesome. So it's cool to be able to share these things with the kids,
yeah.
and
Well, the awesome thing was at Sick New World, there was all these bands that I had no idea who they were, but they were like Jay's favorite bands, like all these new bands that I had like we were walking around back in the artist village and like kind of standing side stage watching bands and watching my kid freak out and like cry because they get to meet these artists. Well, I have no idea who they are. Again, man, you get to live
Hmm.
vicariously through them, and it's
Yeah.
makes it interesting
Dude,
again.
I love it when my son will be like, send me a message. Dad, check this band out. He'll send me a link to whatever, and I'll look at it. I just love that they want to share their music, even though it's totally different from what I listen to. But, I always give it a listen. And it's just, it's awesome that my kids are both into music, not necessarily all the stuff that I like, but they found their own path through the music. And that's awesome. The,
Yeah.
just music in general, soundtracks, whatever. Awesome.
Hmm.
I know. I totally made the show serious. I'm sorry.
No, it's all
Yeah,
right.
man.
Let's
We're
go back to talking about cocaine and hookers.
Let's go back to NEG board games. Let's do this.
Right,
G
right.
board games. Yeah.
Let's lasso it back in. Where's that fucking shark? You fucking get the fucking shark. There we go. We're back.
Shit.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie soundtrack, and besides Shocker?
Um, I don't know, man. I mean, probably Last Action Hero. Last Action Hero.
Hmm.
I'll tell you top five. Last Action Hero, Singles, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Shocker. It's probably those. I would imagine those are the ones that still get the Crow, the Crow 2.
Hmm.
Those are probably that's probably the list right there. And then, like I said, Judgment Night. I love that soundtrack. The Spawn soundtrack I fucking love.
Freddy versus Jason had a crazy
Freddy
soundtrack.
versus Jason went. I had some bands on that soundtrack, so I'm biased. But yeah, no, El Nino, Chimera, there was some great shit on that.
Is Mushroom Head
That
on
and
that
that, that
one?
was cool too, man. Having some bands on a soundtrack for something that key, it was super fucking cool. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Another great one. Trying to think
Yeah.
if there's anything else that I really other soundtracks. The Metal Years, Decline of Western
Oh
Civilization
yeah.
2. I'm a huge fan of that soundtrack.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much my list. I'm sure there's more obscure stuff if I
Fucking
really
heavy
was
metal.
thinking about it and not on the spot. But
Heavy metal with fucking Blue Oyster Cult, Sammy. A
uh,
lot of good shit on that.
oh,
Sabbath is
and
on there.
Trick or Treat, which we mentioned previously. I love that
Trick or
soundtrack.
treat. Yeah. Don't tell your mother the babysitter's
The
dead.
Babysitter's
That's
Dead.
that's a
That is a
great
good
soundtrack.
soundtrack too.
Who's
Yeah.
on that one?
Well, this. Let me look it up. But there's a lot of bands. There's Valentine, for example, which is a great glam band.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let me look it up.
Lorraine Lewis is on it. Let's see. I had to look too because it's like it's nothing that's
Lorraine
like
Lewis as a solo artist or with
yeah.
Femme
Lorraine
Fatale?
Lewis as a solo artist. Yep, has a song which is
Yeah,
actually really
Lorraine
dope.
Lewis.
And Lorraine's
There's
great, man.
Flame.
She's great. I was just messaging. I was just bugging her on Instagram yesterday, talking to her. She's great. Modern English, Alias. You remember Alias?
Oh, Alias, yeah.
Timothy
Alias.
B.
More than,
Schmidt
more
from the
than words can
Timothy B.
say.
Schmidt from the Eagles is
That's
on
my
it.
song to Santi. More than words can say. I love you now.
So what is funny is that Alias song and the Valentine song were both not
Which one is it?
released at the time that movie came out. Perfect World by Alias was released like almost 10 years later, and Keep the Faith was never released by Valentine. So I don't
Hmm.
know what happened there. But
I have to check that
um,
soundtrack out. I didn't realize. What about Bon Jovi's "Edge of a Broken Heart" being on the Disorderly soundtrack? That's
Yeah,
kind of an
that
odd.
is
and
That's
that
kind
was
of an
never
oddball.
released officially, right? As well. Well, it was like on a demos compilation, but
Which
never
which
as part of
one? Edge of a
that
Broken Heart.
Bon Jovi song.
It's been officially released. It's on the box set that he put out, and it
Right, but
was
I mean like on a
I don't think it was
compilation, but
released
not
as
like
a
on an
single.
album. Yeah,
Great song though. I love that song.
it is. Yeah, I mean that I think it's on the isn't it on the New Jersey like deluxe edition and stuff like that.
Uh, I'm not sure because that was way before New Jersey. That would have been on Slippery When Wet. That would have been between
Mm,
700-800 degrees and Slippery. It
mm,
probably would have been in there because Disorder was like 86,
right.
something like that, 86, 87. So it would have been right in that area.
John
Another
Parr has some great songs as well
and dude,
for
another soundtrack I
soundtracks.
really like. Have you ever heard the Gross Point Blank soundtrack? I mean, I'm assuming you've seen the movie, but that is a great soundtrack too. I think John Cusack has a little hand in picking the music for. I'm trying to remember it's on Gross Point Blank, but it's like
Yeah,
I know we
say
care a lot.
anything.
I know we care a lot's on it. God,
Uh,
it's all kind of, but the Violent Femmes are on it, but it's all kind of like release songs. But it's super again, sort of like you know, like a like a John Cusack movie. It's another one of those great fucking cool soundtrack. The Clash is on it. Guns N'
another
Roses.
another soundtrack that I think that I dig, the John Cusack movie was what's the one with the albums where he's the vinyl he owns the vinyl. Is that High Fidelity? Is it that
Yeah,
one?
High Fidelity. Yeah, that's a great soundtrack too.
Yeah, I think that's got some cool stuff on it. Um, I love John
Yeah,
Cusack though, hands down. Great
Yeah,
dude. I just love his movies. I'm a big Say Anything fan. It's another one. Say Anything had some good songs.
oh, dude, come
That
on,
Peter Gabriel
fucking
song is.
dude, Better Off Dead is my favorite movie ever,
Oh yeah, Better Off
ever.
Dead. Forgot about that one. Damn.
One Crazy Summer too. Like I'm a
One
big,
Crazy Summer.
big OG John Cusack fan.
Good shit.
yeah, and also that what's the name of the Empire Records, like the one
Oh yeah,
where
Oh,
that's a
he's
Empire
like
great
Records.
owner
soundtrack.
Yeah.
of the owner of of a record store. Yeah, that's a good movie, and I know a lot of people that are just like that guy, like the guy in the
Is it
movie
is
that
it
own
Rex
record
Manning Day?
stores.
When's Rex Manning Day?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a record store just a few blocks from here, and the guy's such an asshole. I never go there because
Oh, the guy that overprices everything.
he changes prices based on like your face, right? If he doesn't like you, yeah, he will change the price, and he hates that you ask. He doesn't have any prices on stuff, and he hates people that ask what the price is. So I don't know. It's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, what do you
And
just pick it up and here you go. It'd be
yeah,
200 bucks. No, put it back. I'm good.
r- right,
I don't want
yeah.
that Kenny G record for 200 bucks when his board game's fucking 10 bucks a
Yeah,
damn.
he has the second Enough's Enough album, which is on
Oh,
vinyl, which is pretty hard to find
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a
that's
trend.
pretty hard to find.
and that's a
Yeah,
fucking great album
and
too.
he has had that for at least 10 years, I believe, and he's never sold it because he asks like I don't know, like $1,000 for it,
Oh, that's ridiculous.
and
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know. I mean, what's the point of having something in your store for like more than 5 years if you're not gonna? I don't know. At
Like,
that point, it's
that's
just like,
called the I don't want to sell it price. That's what that's called.
Yeah.
They don't really want to sell it because they like to have it there. And like you're talking about it on a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so that's the point of it. You know what I mean? Like look,
right.
I have this sitting on my desk. Like,
Oh
Oh,
yes. I
that's
have
an
my
awesome
copy over
album.
there. Great album.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you what,
One of my
this is worth
favorites.
more than enough strength. I will tell you that.
Absolutely.
yeah, an
You
original.
have
Yeah,
one of these too? You have one of
I
these too,
do.
Dave?
I have one. Yeah. I'm a
You have
big Mother Love Bone fan. Huge.
oh, good man.
Huge. I have the box set too that they did that has the reissue with the EP and that
Are
that
are
comes
you talking
with
about the purple one or another?
No. It's another one. It was
Is it
a
another
vinyl box set. It's got posters and like
Oh, that's
an
awesome.
old like magazine. It's cool. It's really cool. I'd
That's
pull
all.
it
Yeah,
all
man.
out.
But
Yeah,
we'll
it's
have to do
awesome.
that some other time.
Oh yeah, I'd love to show. I mean, I got some cool shit here. Got
Actually,
some-
I guess I have to give the shout out to my dude Phil at LRB Records in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, because he's the one who sold me this. So thank you, Phil. I love you.
He hooked you up.
LRB Record and Skate Shop. Like I saw this in the wild. He posted a video of his shop. I'm like, oh my, is that a fucking copy of Apple? He's like, yeah. I'm like,
Hmm.
you didn't want to see the price tag on it. It's still there. I never took it off. What would you guess? What did you pay for yours, Dave? How long have you had yours?
I paid 150.
When did you buy it?
Man,
A
yeah, I
long
would
time
say
ago.
probably when I started collect. Well, it would have been around, I'd say 2017, 18, right around
Yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly. Before records quadrupled.
Yeah,
Like
because
that would have been a good price for it around then. Now
yeah, it
that
was
is not.
150. Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The price on this one was about 3 times that, but they're
Oh, I
not.
believe it.
You're not going to find one now, especially now.
No, and
Nope.
don't
You
part
know,
with it.
no, I never will. It will be here forever.
That
So
is one. That is one of the. That is to me the quintessential. It's the quintessential grunge record, you could
yeah,
say.
it's a
But
perfect album.
it's based in glam. It's based so it's kind of like a good bridge between the
Yeah.
two genres,
Oh yeah,
which
and that's what it was.
ended
I
up
mean, that was
one ended up destroying the other or whatever,
yeah,
however you want to take it. But that album, man, s- uh, that's just one of those albums. Fucking
yeah.
amazing. And
I
Andrew
will say
White,
this, and we'll wrap this up on this. I used to have, and this is man. Let's go. We'll go through what's one thing you had in your life that you don't have anymore that you want to kill yourself every moment because you don't have it anymore. I had in the 90s an autographed copy of Shine on vinyl that Tom Smith, so there's a record store here called The Exclusive Company, and Tom Smith, the manager of the store, knew I was a huge Mother Love Bone fan. He sold it to me for like $50. And it was actually signed to Tom because he had gotten it signed by the band somehow, or maybe they sent it to him at the store. And I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know if it got stolen, it just disappeared. And I literally still dream about that fucking thing to this day. This was like in the this was like in the early 90s, like when Mother Love, right when, you know,
Hmm.
maybe when 10 had just come out. I was
yeah,
into Mother Love Bone before Pearl Jam came out. And he
yeah,
sold it
yeah,
to me. He
me
knew I was
too.
a big fan and he
Yep.
sold it to me. And I still feel like an asshole because I was the steward of that record and I don't have it anymore. But that was, I would give anything to have that back. Like if anything I've ever lost in my life, that would be the
Yeah.
one thing I would probably, if I had a time machine, I would go back and find it.
Well, you know what? You just keep searching, man. It's still
Yeah,
out there
yeah,
somewhere.
it's not that.
I like I
Could
said, I
be,
have the reissue of it in that box set, but
yeah.
it's just a
Yeah, no, this was an original pressing signed by the
yeah.
whole band, including Andrew.
That's man.
Like,
You
anyway,
know,
gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun. We'll do it again sometime. I
yeah,
got to go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I
It's in,
my Friday night is cleaning up my house, and I was right in the middle of it, and I shut down to jump on with you guys, but I got to go back to my puppy dad cleaning duties.
Back to
nice.
reality. No, don't bullshit us. We know you're going to play the Kenny G game. Come
I wish I'm gonna go break into Goodwill and go get it.
on. Just wait till they open in the morning. I don't think you're gonna sell it. You'll be fine.
Now, what if they do? Then what? Then what? Then you
Dude, if you end up on the fucking news, fucking in handcuffs, fucking man gets no Wisconsin man gets arrested for Kenny G.
would definitely be a meme tomorrow for sure. Wisconsin man arrested breaking into Goodwill to steal Kenny G board game.
Oh,
Well, I
on the
mean,
next episode
you,
of Hollywood Dreams.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Well, awesome, dude. This
I
was a
mean,
lot of fun. We'll have to do it again another time.
Hell yeah, Tom.
we'll,
It was
I
great.
got
yeah,
I got nothing going
definitely.
on Friday nights. I'm a loser, so
We'll have,
Hey, we canceled our plans to be with you, dude.
Well, good. Well,
yeah.
good. Well,
I
good.
mean, we can
As you
have
should.
like I don't know, make it like a section like Kenny G Fridays or something like that.
Maybe you think they make it like a sex show?
The Saxy Show.
Oh,
this,
okay.
yeah,
The Saxy
living
Show.
in the
Maybe,
moment.
maybe next time we
Yeah,
can get Tim Capella on. Let's do this.
think of yeah, we can a
You know
sax
what?
off.
I bet you
The
we
Sexy
can
Sax
get that guy.
Podcast. It'll be like 3 guests: Candy Dolfer, Kenny G, and Tim Capella. That's it. Those are the only 3 saxophone players that exist. And that would be the shortest fucking podcast run in history, like 3 episodes. All right, we're out of saxophone players.
That would be Hollywood Dreams jumping the shark. Yes.
All right, awesome. Okay,
Oh my
man.
god.
Yeah,
Very cool.
thank you so much for being on the show, and yeah, we'll have you back as soon as as soon as you're ready to take another hour of Dave and me. but,
Hour and a
but-
half.
Hey,
This is
come up with
almost
some
an
more
hour and a
shit to
half.
talk
This is a
about. I'm
great
in.
episode.
All right, gentlemen, have a wonderful evening.
You too, Tom. Thanks,
all right,
brother.
man. Take care, man. Bye bye.
Later, man.